By the middle of the 2nd century CE, the once mighty Han dynasty was slowly unraveling. Though it had ruled China for nearly 400 years, the imperial court had grown weak, corrupt, and deeply divided. The Confucian ideal of a benevolent, orderly government was being replaced by bitter power struggles, exploitation, and widespread suffering. Eunuchs controlled the imperial palace, selling positions of power and silencing their critics. The emperors themselves, especially Emperor Wan and Emperor Ling, were largely figureheads manipulated by palace factions and incapable of governing effectively. At the same time, the countryside was spiraling into chaos. Landlords were expanding their estates, evading taxes, and consuming the lands of small farmers. The peasantry bore the full weight of the state, paying heavy taxes, conscripted into forced labor, and left unprotected from floods, droughts, and banditry. By the 170s, famine and disease had become widespread, and millions of Chinese farmers found themselves with nothing to lose. Amid this growing desperation, a charismatic healer and preacher named Zhongzhu emerged in the northern province of Ji, claiming to receive visions from the Supreme Tao. Zhongzhu founded a religious political movement called the Way of Great Peace. He combined Taoist cosmology with a revolutionary message that the Han had lost the mandate of heaven, and a new, righteous order would soon replace it. His message spread like wildfire. Zhongzhu's followers, organized into secret cells across the empire, wore yellow turbans to symbolize their cause. In 184 CE, Zhongzhu launched a coordinated uprising across multiple provinces, including Jiayu, Jiayang and Yu. His famous slogan declared, "The blue heaven is dead. The yellow heaven will rise. In the year Jiazi, peace will come." It was one of the largest peasant uprisings in Chinese history. Contemporary records estimate over 360,000 rebels joined the initial revolt. While modern scholars suggest this number may be exaggerated, the scope was vast, and the threat to the Han very real. The imperial court panicked. To fight the rebellion, it empowered regional warlords and generals with autonomous command breaking from centuries of centralized rule. Among these were Huangfu, Song, Zhu, Jun, and the rising commanders Cao, Liu Bei, and Sun Jian, names that would later define the Three Kingdoms. Though the rebellion was largely crushed by 185 CE, it came at a high cost. Zhongzhu died during the campaign, likely from illness, and his brothers were killed in battle. Yet the consequences of the rebellion were irreversible. The central government had exposed its fragility. In granting emergency powers to regional military leaders, it had unintentionally created the conditions for warlordism. Many commanders retained their armies and began carving out personal power bases, no longer loyal to the Han Emperor. The rebellion had also shown how religious movements could mobilize mass discontent and shake imperial authority. Even after the Yellow Turban's defeat, offshoots of the movement and scattered rebel bands continued to resist in remote regions for years. Then came 189 CE, another blow to the Han. Emperor Ling died, and a succession crisis erupted. The general He Jin tried to purge the eunuchs, but was assassinated. In response, his allies opened the gates of the capital to the warlord Dong Zhuo, who marched into Lujiang, deposed the young Emperor Liu Bei, and installed Liu Zhe as a puppet ruler. Though weak, Emperor Xian remained a symbol of legitimacy, and Dong Zhuo sought to use this to his advantage. He appointed himself prime minister and began confiscating the estates of disloyal nobles, redistributing them to his own followers. But Dong Zhuo ruled with violence and arrogance. His brutality alienated even his allies, and he soon found himself facing a coalition of 8 princes. As the warlord that opposed him were known, including Yuan Shao, Cao Cao, and Liu Bei. This conflict escalated into open civil war. In 190 CE, the imperial court fled east to the new capital of Su, while Dongjua remained in the west, holding the young emperor hostage. For 2 years, the coalition forces advanced westward, finally capturing and sacking Luoyang in 196 CE. Dongjual retreated to Chang'an in the west, but died the following year under mysterious circumstances. Some say he was assassinated by his own daughter, while others blame a disgruntled subordinate. Regardless, his removal cleared the way for the warlords to divide the Western Han territories among themselves. As the coalition forces marched on Chang'an, they formalized this division at the 190 CE Conference of Hong. The agreement established 3 spheres of influence, one for the northwest controlled by the powerful warlord Cao, another for the northeast, held by Gongsun Zan and Yuan Shao, and a third centered on the Yangtze River with Liu Bei as the leading figure. From this point onward, the Han dynasty existed only in name. The empire fractured, new regional states emerged, and decades of warfare followed. Finally, in 220 CE, the Han officially fell. First, Emperor Xian abdicated, ending the 400-year-old dynasty. Soon after, 3 kingdoms were established: Wei in the north, Shu in the southwest, and Wu in the southeast. These states would compete for dominance during what is now known as the Three Kingdoms period. And though the Han dynasty is long gone, its impact on East Asian history is immeasurable. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload.